Good morning, good morning. Predicted Trades family. Hope everybody's doing good. Just wait a couple of seconds for folks to get piling in here. All right, so we had our CPI, we had our jobless claims. Today we've got retail sales, manufacturing index, and University of Michigan stuff at 10 a.m. If we take a look, if we take a look at ES and how things have been going, we've basically been in a little down channel. Started last Friday, carried through this week. We made our way away from the moving averages, down to the first Keltner and some key levels, and now we're making our way back. We're basically coming to a nice little point in a wedge from the lows, the last lows that sent us up to the moving averages. So we're back above that trend line and trying to hold it to pre-market. And we have our trend line from the highs that we are butting up against right at a key level, 3807. So we should know pretty early in the day if they want to get above 3807, turn it into support since it has been resistance. If we can get above 3807, use it as support, we can push back to the daily 8, 15, and 21, and as you can see magically, the 15 and 21 align with our zone, our key levels above. So if we can get through pre-market high, we can carry straight on up to the top of this 4-hour squeeze. We pretty much got the bottom of that 4-hour squeeze yesterday after hitting a key level. If you tuned into prep yesterday, you may have noticed I talked about if we're going to see further downside, we have to get below 3741 and reject it to head lower. We did get below it, we rejected it ever so slightly, but then we got right back above it and it became support. We didn't even really need to retest it. Then we took off again, sailing back to 3800. So today, if we can get above 3807, turn it into support, we can carry on up to the top of this 4-hour squeeze. If we start to lose this trend line and pre-market low, we'll likely revisit POC at 3773, or last month's POC, and the bottom of this 4-hour squeeze again at 3741. We do still have POC on, POC on ES, sitting basically right up where the daily 21 is. So we've got a lot of extra magnets above that should allow us to head back higher. Plus, if you look at where we started the week on Monday, we were up above this zone. And it is an OpEx week. So just in the idea of getting back to even on the week, we could easily push up to this zone and just sit, basically ending the week where we started. Let's move on. In Q. So with NQ, it may be a little harder to see, but we are starting to break through trend line from highs. Let's just go ahead and grab a little bit. So we started to break through yesterday. We are holding above that trend line pre-market. So very similar scenario. Our 4-hour squeeze is much closer on NQ, and we are right at our daily moving averages. Idea being, if we can continue to the upside, we'll probably get right through these moving averages to the top of this 4-hour squeeze, psychological 12,000 and the daily 50 making a zone above. But it looks like our current POC has stepped down to basically where we are. So, about 11,800. Yeah, 805, whatever. So, pretty simple scenario. If we go below 11,800 and below pre-market low, we could slip right back to key zone. But as long as we can hold those and stay above, we can push through daily moving averages to the top of the squeeze, psychological 12,000 and the daily 50 to get right back to where we were when we started the week. Alrighty, back over 17,000, which aligns well with this wick from Wednesday. So as long as we can stay above that, we can head back through the daily moving averages to the top of 4-hour squeeze. If we start to lose that 1700, we're going to test the bottom of this squeeze. We could slip down to the daily. YM going to be opening in between a daily Keltner below and the moving averages above. Very similar scenario as long as YM can hold pre-market low, 30,500 psychological level. We can continue to push higher. Looks like YM just set a new pre-market high, which I don't think we just saw that on NQ. No, so we might see some YM rotation to start with, since it looks like they're taking it a little higher. And yeah, right now YM is leading to the upside. All right, let's press on. So YM, let's see if we can get over 30,800, back through 31,000, the moving averages, and kind of back up to where we started the week, 31,200-ish. Apple. Apple, super strong yesterday. 2 days in a row. Well, I mean, look at it. Every day, Apple's been strong, strong, strong. Yesterday was such a big move. Held that daily 50 from 143. Ran itself all the way up to our key levels. 148.93, 147.5. I mean, not to toot my own horn here, but look at that wick right there. Key level. At any of these key levels, you should be loading or unloading, right? But Apple, very strong, right at the top of this 4-hour squeeze that is starting to open up and could fire to the upside. Our daily squeeze on Apple, where's that thing hiding? Oh, I'm sorry. There is not a daily squeeze on Apple. That's the 4-hour squeeze. So, should we fire this 4-hour to the upside? The next target to try to get to is our zone above, kind of centered around 154. With a 4-point ATR, that would be a little bit past an ATR, 152 kind of being where that ATR would be. And we do have a daily Keltner right at around that 151.30. But if Apple, if Apple cannot get through this 148, rejects this 4-hour squeeze top, loses pre-market low, 148.5, basically close to where we closed. It can start to fall back 147.5. This recent high 146.5. 144 extreme if people, if markets rolling over and engulfing yesterday, right? But Apple can continue higher, psychological 150. It could just kind of sit in between these two key levels. AMD. Decent day for AMD yesterday. Made its way from 76 back up to 79. Trying to push a little higher pre-market. We do have a 4-hour squeeze above at 80. We've got the daily mean up at 81.5. For targets to the upside. If we cannot get through this 4-hour squeeze top and 80, we could settle back to the daily 8 and 15. The daily 8 looks like it's going to be kind of right in the middle of the squeeze. So AMD might take a dip there, then push back into the 4-hour top. If we lose that 8 daily moving average, we could go back to see yesterday's low and squeeze bottom. Amazon. So a very clear wedge here on Amazon that we're starting to get through. Also trend line from the highs of the week. Started to get through. Let's see if Amazon might take a quick little dip to pre-market low to test this wedge again before heading higher. We've got all of our moving averages stacked here at 111, 112. 4 hours, probably a 2-hour here. 2-hour squeeze and 4-hour squeeze above as resistance before we would get back to a 115, 116, the highs from Friday. But if we reject all these daily moving averages and start to slide back below our pre-market low, well, maybe we could head back to 109, 108. Squeeze bottom. But let's see if it wants to just keep on pressing. Maybe turn this 111.5 into support to head higher. BA, another epic day yesterday. You know, it took off from the moving averages, tag 4-hour squeeze top, comes back to moving averages, goes back to squeeze top. That's why we track all these things. So BA, let's just see if it can stay up at the squeeze top and try to push higher today. What we don't want to see is a rejection and a roll over. Losing 146 could mark that the market's selling back off and engulfing some of yesterday. So as long as BA can stay above 146, we should be pretty good for more upside. Cat made it all the way to third Keltner. Still no interest, but could be ready to kind of break out of this resistance. And the target to the upside would just be getting back to the daily 8 or 15 around this first Keltner down. before we get back to the mean. Google. Today is the last day we will see Google up in these prices. After today, we've got a 20-to-1 split. So wherever we close today, divide by 20, that's where we're going to end up. It'll be close to, Apple's price, Amazon's price. So, Google, kind of mute yesterday. I mean, it did get going to the upside, but all in all, it only moved about 50 points from low to high. Ultimately, let's see if Google can stay north of 2200. The goal, if it takes off, would be getting back to daily moving averages. We closed around 2207. Call it an 80-point ATR. I mean, yeah, getting back to these daily moving averages is well within the cards for the ATR today. Maybe even back to 2300. Definitely going to be on the screen to keep an eye on. We have seen a lot of splits lately that just didn't do anything, but I expect Google to try to make a strong run today. GS. JPM reported yesterday before open. All banks dropped out of their squeezes, down at daily squeeze. Could be a good spot to pick her up. To head back higher. But she does report next week, so not a big interest for me. JPM, kind of the same thing, already reported. So if they're going to do some finance rotation in, could be a good candidate to the upside if you're playing finance. Goal getting back to the moving averages off of this higher time frame squeeze bottom. Well, Meta looks very different from the market yesterday. Just dumped and stayed down. So I'd leave this one alone. It has just been rejecting moving averages and heading back down. Yeah, not a real interest. Relative weakness. Compared to relative strength, Microsoft had a strong day yesterday. Today, let's see if it can hold that 152, where that daily Keltner is going to be sitting. As long as we can hold that 152, Microsoft can try and make a bid to get back above 255, to the top of the squeeze and back to the daily moving averages. Close at 54. 8 points. Yeah, can easily get all the way back to the daily 50 today if it wanted to. But it's OPEX, folks, things might just kind of go sideways and fizzle into the end of the week. Maybe all the big moves are done. Netflix, very clear wedge. Kind of mute yesterday. Drop, pop, drop, pop. Let's see. With all these squeezes stacked up, I doubt she really does much today. NVIDIA. I'd say a touch stronger than AMD. Getting back to the daily 8, 15, and 21. That's as long as she can hold pre-market low and that daily 8, which are kind of overlapping. Can start to push into these squeeze tops to get back to the 21. But if she rejects squeeze tops, loses the daily 8, could slip right on back to 150. QQQ. So QQQ, very clean yesterday. A lot of good movement. It held this daily Keltner, squeeze bottom, 280, and ultimately this shaded region, which has allowed us to go up a couple of times already. Did a great job holding that, took right back off through trendline from highs, the less extreme and the more extreme, and closed above them, right back at the daily 8, 15, and 21, all stacked together around 288. Let's see if QQQ can hold a pre-market low and yesterday's pre-market high, kind of creating a support zone around 286. If we can hold there, we can head back higher through the daily 1521 and the daily 50, not too far away, but we do have that 4-hour squeeze top to deal with. If we start to lose these things to the downside, clear target is that zone and 4-hour squeeze bottom. But let's see if we just want to get back to the daily 21 and 15 and kind of chop around that area. Roku, no real interest. Weak yesterday, weak this morning. If market's going to see more upside, you could potentially have a catch-up played on Roku where it gets right back up to its moving averages to close out the week. But not a big interest for me. SPX. I'd say we pretty much filled the gap yesterday. We left maybe a few bucks out to completely fill the gap. But we got close to our other gap zone and turned right around. So that's why we mark these things and check them. With a little gap up, basically going to finish filling that gap. And then we are stuck between two gaps. Let's see if we can hold that daily Keltner, 3780-ish. If we take a little dip, let's see if we can get back through 3800 in a bid to revisit these daily moving averages above, spanning from 3820 up to 3850. And SPY. SPY slipped that 374. I'm going to zoom in on this to talk to it. Just to talk about opportunity, right? We got some short opportunity. Then we turned around and played calls up, getting back over a key level. You'll notice on a 1-hour chart, we got over that key level. We stalled out. We come right back to it and close at it. That is a midday opportunity, right? If you go look at a lot of these calls on SPY and QQQ, they started down at, let's say, like 50, 80 cents. They ran up to like $1.50, where you should be taking profit and then waiting for the reload. On a strong up day, like we had yesterday, there's always going to be that midday chance to get back in at a better price to continue the journey higher. And it will usually align with key levels. So 374 is a key level for us. Once we get above it and slow down, we can head back to it to turn it into support to head higher. That's what we talk about in prep every day with these key levels. Whenever I say needs to get through it, turn it to support, keep going. This is the kind of stuff we're looking for. So on SPY today, let's see if we can hold 377 pre-market low before heading back higher to get through pre-market high right at around 380. If we can get through that, daily moving averages up above and 4-hour squeeze top. Closed around 78, 8-point ATR. We can absolutely get to the squeeze top on an ATR today. Tesla. So Tesla started the day rejecting all those moving averages, dropping down to key zone, taking off, little pull back to key zone, and then taking off further, right? So today Tesla opening and having all of its pre-market action above these daily moving averages, which are cutting right through the middle of these squeezes. So if we can hold those moving averages, 708 to 710, we can continue through 718 in a bid to get back. The daily 50s come all the way down to about 730, 725. And if we can get through that, 744 would be the next target. Close at 714, we can easily get back up to this squeeze top if we'd like. If we start to lose those moving averages, it'll be back to this key zone, 681. And we've got some squeezes that would probably keep us up before we get to 657. And our good friend VIX. So yesterday we talked about if we're going to see upside in the market, we will see VIX reject this daily 50, squeeze top, fall below 28. And that all happened in the first hour, I believe, right? So that was your big key sign that we're going to have a nice big up day. We lost 28, got down to the next moving averages for a little bounce, and then rejecting key level and heading lower through those moving averages. We are now back below all those moving averages. So we reverted back to the means, rejected. Now we can push off of those means and get back to lows if the buying sentiment in the market continues. So for further upside today, need to give out 26, head down to 25.5, 25, and maybe even get down to that recent low at 24.5. Which technically ATR-wise, we can get all the way down to this daily 200 today if we really wanted to. So there's a magnet to the downside if the market's going to continue to the upside. But if the market comes back down, we're likely going to hold 26, push back to the daily 8, and back to 27 and the 21. So hopefully this was helpful for everybody. Appreciate all your support and all the work that you guys do every day. I gotta say, I love the family we've built here. I feel like our chat room is just busy all day with amazing technical analysis, everybody working together for the common goal. So yeah, let's see what we get today. Good luck, everybody. It's Friday. Size down, have fun. Don't try to let today be the day that fixes a week that maybe didn't go so well. Just play the action in front of you and, play off our key levels. Be patient, have fun. We'll see you in chat today. Good luck, everybody.